Ignatius, I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
Today we're doing Arkham Asylum, a serious house on serious Earth, written by Grant Morrison with art by Dave McKean.
That's all
Yeah, the
actually
whole
the
title is Arkham Asylum, a serious house on serious Earth.
Serious Earth a universe?
No, actually, you know what? It should be.
The Nut House is the serious house? I thought it was the funny house.
The what? No, it's a serious house.
Is it?
Well, actually, that's interesting you should say that because the whole book takes place on April Fool's Day.
Oh, so is any of it even happening, or is it all just a joke?
Is this just a big trick by Grant Morrison?
Possibly. It all happens. Okay. Although does happen in its own continuity.
Oh.
This book was written by Grant Morrison, as we just established. Mm-hmm. The art by Dave McKean is like nothing you've ever seen. Or you might have seen it, but much later on. Especially on, in Alias, with the covers and the collage work. Because the art it's a mixture of everything. It's like photography, pencils, collages,
and it's
maybe
really
some computer effects.
Scary.
It's very unnerving, and it's supposed to be. I mean, because it's about Arkham, and the idea here, and it is about Arkham. It's actually you've got a bunch of stories going on in here. Well, two, and the two stories are you have the one story of the inmates in Arkham have taken over.
Okay,
they've broken free. We don't know how, but we do find out. And yes, and the other story is a flashback story, not unlike Godfather 2, where we find out how Arkham was established and who Arkham was as a person.
Arkham
the man.
Okay.
Wait, Dr. Arkham?
Yeah.
Or is it?
Well, the guy, yes, he is a doctor. He's a psychiatrist, and he creates the asylum out of his old house.
So is it sort of like the video game?
Yes.
Because
now the video game
exact thing happens in the video game.
Yes, it is, but it's weird because the video game it's all about Sharp, the guy who runs Arkham,
right?
And how he if you find those tablets, the tablets tell you the story. Yes, a lot of those things are drawn from this story, and a lot of the things the Joker says. I think the first thing Joker says in the game is something Joker says in this book, and Joker's in it for a few pages. And
really, because he's on the cover. So
he is on the cover. You think
he's the main focal point?
Well, he's the ambassador. He's the welcomer.
Well, it's the Joker, and it's also a demon.
Yes.
Yeah, what's wrong with his eye? He looks like a vampire, actually.
Yeah, I'm getting the cover of Fright Night, where the face of the vampire comes out of the clouds. That's what it looks like.
And it might be inspired by it, or the inspiration for it. I don't know when Fright Night came out, but
80s. So
this was 89. So, and the idea here is this book came out in 89, around the same time as Batman the movie, and it was billed as a graphic novel that was coinciding with the movie. It wasn't it was written around
the movie.
It wasn't about the movie. It was just they had their own actual graphic novelization of the movie that was a direct translation of the movie, which I owned and was kind of fun.
Was Arkham in Batman 1989?
No.
I didn't think so.
Arkham wasn't in Batman Returns either. Arkham only showed up in fucking Batman Forever.
Wait, Arkham was in Batman Forever?
Yeah, at the end,
yes.
Because Riddler's the only
That's right.
villain who survives Batman's movies.
Yeah,
Dr.
that's right.
something Chase?
Meridian Chase. Chase Meridian.
Chase Meridian. Oh.
Chase Meridian.
I want to say it was Manhattan Chase. I was like, that's
I guess that was a Bond influence. The idea being let's give her a Bond chick name.
Because you have to chase her.
Pussy Galore.
Why would
Chase
they do
Meridian.
that?
Because why did they do anything with fucking Batman Forever and Batman and Robin? But so this book came out around the same time as the first movie, and there was some resistance when it was first being made. Morrison wrote this, of course. He was "Oh, this is gotta be great," and
Transcendental.
Yeah, and people were "No, this is fucking weird." And
wait, someone told Grant Morrison no?
Yeah. It was 89. He was still kind of getting his footing.
Yeah.
And it wound up actually not only getting published, but selling out like gangbusters, because the movie just inspired Batmania. It didn't confuse and baffle people. And amazingly enough, we've actually kind of gone backwards a little bit, because in today's market, I can guarantee you, people would be this is confusing. If the movie comes out, and they read this, they're going to be why isn't this like the movie? You have to make this more like the movie. Back then,
Isn't
they were
that all comics now?
Yeah! But back then, they were fuck, it says Batman, I will print money!
Yep.
And they kind of did.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's really, it did well, and it's actually considered one of the top 5 best Batman stories of all time.
Oh.
Now, I don't know who actually is the author of that list, but
it's Grant Morrison.
Yeah, Grant Morrison says, look, It's still it's one of the best Batman stories ever.
I was about to do Alan Moore. I was like,
Look. Oh, Alan Moore would be like, this is fucking horseshit. Incidentally, it's funny because like the top 5 Batman stories of all time are like Arkham Asylum, Killing Joke, Dark Knight Returns. You get Morrison, Moore, Miller.
Right.
You get the 3 M's of Batman all in one list, and some other stories. Probably a Snyder stories in there somewhere.
it's like a snack.
Great Batman stories. So. Let's get into the stories a little bit. You got the first story about Arkham. Okay. Which one do you want to hear about first? Arkham or Batman?
Tell us the background.
The background is Arkham is this idealist, and he is he grew up in this big crazy house that will eventually become the Asylum.
Okay. It was a crazy house?
No, it was just big, and it was crazy how big it was.
It was a crazy big house.
Yeah, he would eventually turn it into a crazy house.
Okay.
Arkham grew up with his mom kind of like being an invalid, and crazy, and she was always like tormented by these visions.
Oh.
And it made Arkham really sensitive to the mentally disturbed. And
was one of those visions a bat?
Yes. That's the big fucking reveal at the end. Is that she is plagued by a vision of a bat. So, Arkham seeks out...
So she was the first Batman.
Well, she doesn't actually... She's not inspired by it. No, Arkham is inspired by it. The idea here is that, like, Arkham feels really bad for his, like, not being able to take care of his mom properly.
Okay.
And so he's like, what I'll do is he eventually marries, and he has a kid, and his wife and daughter are, excited to be inheriting this huge house that he grew up in, and he's like returning to it for the first time. Like he goes overseas. He leaves. He pieces out, and he fucking becomes a doctor and marries this woman and has a kid.
I mean, you can't become a doctor in America. You have to go to like London.
Yeah, you gotta go someplace overseas. You gotta go to Europe.
What time frame are we?
I think it's like the 1800s, so the 19th century is the idea here.
Okay.
So Arkham. No, you know what? It's around the... No, it can't be, because there's shock treatment.
Oh, so it's like turn of the century.
Yeah, turn of the century.
Like early 1900s.
Precisely.
Okay.
So Arkham brings his family back to the house, and immediately it's like, what a fucking mistake. It's like a horror movie. Oh. It's like the Amityville Horror. We're like, well, isn't this big house and our new lives going to be just terrific?
Right.
And everyone's like, I got a bad feeling, honey, we shouldn't go into this movie. No, we're going in the movie.
If we don't go in the movie, we're not making any money.
Yeah, exactly. The movie doesn't happen if we go in there. So he resolves to turn the house into an asylum that he's going to run himself. And like,
well, that's even a better idea.
I know.
And
they're going to live there.
House, and you put crazy people in it.
and you move your family and you live there with them.
No, they live somewhere else.
No, they live in there with them.
Go wrong with that plan.
So Arkham immediately tries to help rehabilitate the crazy people of Gotham, of early Gotham,
by shocking their brain.
No, he doesn't really. He's very progressive, and he's very sensitive and understanding of the mentally disturbed.
Okay.
And eventually, some crazy person, some criminally insane person, breaks into his house and rapes and murders his wife and child.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Not someone who is an inmate, or is...
No, I think, I don't think he's an inmate. I think it's more like there's just one at large. And then eventually he's like, I have to have him in my asylum.
Oh.
And
you mean to kill, right?
To torture and kill, yes. But no, I'm a doctor. I'm going to help this man. But first I'm going to help him fucking die. Because this guy.
I like this doctor.
The fucking guy, it's horrific, by the way. It's a horror show. This whole book is... I've called it, for Tiffany, because she's a huge Silent Hill fan, I've called it Batman Silent Hill, because it's totally that. It's a horror show. Every element in it is, scary and disturbing and creepy. It's just this really, crazy psychodrama. Oh. And it's, by the way, his mother's visions are the first sign that maybe Arkham might also be crazy.
Okay. And
so, in his insistence that he's not crazy, he starts to, take on more and more, really terrible assignments at the asylum. I'm going to take this crazy person. This really, really hard case.
Okay.
And it's I'm
just going to push myself.
Continually. Maybe not. And then,
of course, after his wife?
No, it's before.
Okay.
And then his wife and kid are killed, and he goes off the deep end. Right. I think, there's actually there's an image of him, wearing his wife's wedding dress. And he's just
no.
like, yeah, and
That's not
and it
good.
just goes, and then they're like, okay, buddy, like, you're gonna become an inmate at your own asylum. And
I am the asylum.
yeah. He starts, like, learning more about, like, the occult, and, like, reading up on spells and, like, magic and stuff, and when he's, like, locked
Which
up...
in the DC universe are real?
Magic's real, but, like, not necessarily in this.
Okay.
It's really up to your interpretation. The idea here is that, like, Arkham had been, when he was eventually committed, trying to work out this, like, this spell to escape. And he wrote...
Spell?
Yeah, like a spell from a spell book.
Okay.
But, like, it's a really complicated one that takes up all the wall and floor space in his cell.
Okay.
So he's carving, like, this spell in this, like, crazy language all over his cell. And until he, like, grows older and older. Like, he does it for years. Until eventually he, like, runs out of room and he draws this, like, spiral spell, like, on the floor. And,
shit.
like, they take away all the sharp objects and stuff. So he's just digging the spell into the granite with his fingers.
Oh, I can feel it.
And then he finishes and then dies. Before he dies, he discovers that the visions of the bat in his mother's room weren't visions.
There was a bat.
There was a bat in the house. And he thought his mother was crazy, and he treated her as such.
Wait a minute. His mom said there's a bat in the house. He's like, oh, you must be having visions.
Well, she's like, I'm seeing this, like, because it's in the dark, and it's like, it's casting shadows.
Well, she's
and
probably
so,
talking about it weird, like, I saw
Yeah, she can't just say,
figure.
son, there's a bat in the house, you gotta get rid of it. She was
Right.
probably like, there's a horrible monster, a bewinged creature that
It tried to suffocate me.
it torments me in the night.
So she's a little crazy.
A little crazy, yeah.
Well, she's just overly dramatic.
Yeah,
Right.
But there really was a bat.
But there actually was a bat.
Yeah. So,
But it's a giant bat.
right.
It's fucking huge, just like the size of a Buick.
Has a cape.
Yeah, and
a cowl.
and a really rich guy inside. So that's the background of Arkham.
Okay.
And Arkham, of course, has been keeping a journal of his entire experience from the day of like it's gonna be a great day
Right.
to like
Day of, like,
so.
killed this fucker and...
Oh no! When he gets the murder rapist,
Yeah.
he fucking like he starts to help him by using electroshock treatments and just leaves it on
Oh, shit.
like fucking Liam Neeson.
crap.
Wow.
And then he's like, and I could still smell him, like,
Oh.
burning. I'm like, yes. Good for you, Arkham.
Awesome and creepy.
Because, like,
at the same time.
the guy cut his daughter's head off and put her in a dollhouse. So, like, he can't find his daughter, and then he looks in the dollhouse and he sees his daughter staring back at him from the door. And you're like, holy shit.
What the fuck?
That's really fucked up.
It's really fucked up, Grant. Holy Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
man.
It's also... Oh, I don't even want to see that image.
I know. So, and it's in there.
It's right here.
There you go.
Ah! And
Yeah.
there's like a cuckoo clock.
Yeah, the cuckoo clock, of course, is a big thing in here where it's like, you're crazy. Like, cuckoo, get it?
Almost idly, I wonder where her head is.
Yeah.
You see the dollhouse. Her head's in.
So,
Is her name Alice?
no. Although there is a very big, like, Alice in Wonderland. No, it's more like a Lewis Carroll kind of vibe going on in here. But, so let's get into the Batman story, because it's a
Please,
lot less fucked up and weird.
That's really surprising.
I know. So Batman gets a call from Gordon that, Arkham is overrun, and they're asking for him. But Batman's very like, I don't want to go. Like, oh, can I not? And you're like, and that's when you first realize, like, this is not your typical Batman story. Because usually Batman's like, let's go! And, like, in his internal
I have to
monologue...
right wrongs.
Yeah, and in his internal monologue, he might be like, I feel fear for the first time in months. That
But I don't show it.
No. He's like, Gordon, really? Do I have to go? And then Gordon's like, they took her eyes. And he's like, okay, fine.
Can I set this one out? They're taking eyes, man!
Yeah. Jesus.
Send in the SWAT!
Yeah. So he goes to Arkham, and Joker's there waiting for him. And in the original script, Morrison wrote the Joker was wearing, was cross-dressing. And he was dressed like Madonna in Truth or Dare. Where she, with the cones and the fishnets.
Oh my god.
And DC's like, all right, Grant,
No.
how about you pull it back a little bit?
No, it's so topical right now.
You're not Grant Morrison yet. So
Gotta earn that shit.
yeah, so he just settles for having McKean draw like this crazy Joker that's really kind of creepy and scary.
Whose face is always different.
Yes, it's always like a little different, and it's always like out of focus. So Joker presents the nurse, and Batman's like, but you said you took her eyes out, and he goes, April Fools! And Batman's like, ooh, There's a moment where Batman is going into the asylum and Joker slaps him on the ass. Oh. And Batman's like, and he gets really mad. People are like, oh, that's because Batman doesn't want to admit how gay he is. I'm like, maybe he doesn't want to be fondled by a crazy clown. But
yeah, that's pretty fair.
He says, take your filthy hands off me.
Yeah, which is what he says in Arkham Asylum.
Why is Batman all curly?
In the game.
Why does Batman have like curls on his shoulders?
Oh,
because it's the 80s.
Yeah, it's an interpretation of Batman that is not relegated to just this one book.
So it's like, this is really the art just being expressed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's not like, really Batman. It's like a...
Well, no, it's Batman.
I mean, it is
but
Batman, but like...
It's not like... Those curls aren't really there. Like, if you were there, the curls wouldn't be. Yeah, but because you're watching this through a cracked mirror version of Batman...
It's like shadow and smoke almost.
Yeah, but like... Yeah, but I want to draw these curls. I think it would look cooler if you had curls. But it's... I over the years, I've seen that Batman before with really long ears and these curls and like claw hands and stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck? Clearly, it's drawn inspiration from this, which is a really, really inspirational book. And I don't mean necessarily that like you guys are going to be inspired by this book to do anything, but it's inspiring the genre.
Okay.
So Batman goes into the asylum and he meets, I believe, the woman who he befriends is named Dr. Ruth Adams, which is the name of the doctor from This Island Earth that Cal Meacham fell in love with. So
I was like, I know that name.
Yeah, and I was like, really? So, and I'm like, Ruth. So he meets her, and she is a bleeding heart doctor. Where he's like, these crazy people. She's like, don't call them crazy, okay? And she's rehabilitating Two-Face, and Two-Face is a big element in this book, even though he's not really a big player. She is handling because he's like, where's Two-Face? And she's like, his name's Harvey. And he's like, yeah, but like when I punch him, his name's Two-Face. So
I can't punch a guy named Harvey.
Yeah, that makes me feel bad. So the idea here is that Two-Face, when he gets into the asylum, Adams is trying to rehabilitate him, and she's like, okay, his problem is choice, and he only has this coin. So she takes away the coin, and she starts giving him different probability things. So like, she started out with, like, a 6-sided die. And then she worked it up to, like, a D20. And then she gave him tarot cards. And I think he's on cards, something like that. And the idea is that eventually she'll give him so many options that eventually he will just make his
own
decisions.
choice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Instead, what happens is he has so many choices he refuses to make any. Right. So he just goes to the bathroom, like, wherever he is. And, like, he can't decide whether he should, get up or breathe.
Oh, wow.
So he's actually just been debilitated as a result of the removal of the coin.
Interesting.
Yeah, so...
How has she not noticed that?
Well, she does, and she's just like, this is all part of the therapy. Like, he'll eventually knock it off. We were working on
He'll eventually not be crazy.
Yeah. Well, like,
Well, then Batman showed up and started punching it.
Yeah, exactly. But no, he's not even punched. It's just that he's under a desk. He's not even creating an element where he can be punched. He's just like...
Right.
And
just like,
yeah, exactly.
And cards and shit.
And Joker is like, yay, this is great, Batman's here, and there are more people here that will beat up Batman that aren't Harvey, so don't worry about him. And so the idea here is that, like, there are 2 doctors there that are, like, left, or at least playing a role in this book. It's Adams and Cavendish. And Cavendish is more, like, in line with Batman. He's more like, yeah, these crazy people need to get their asses kicked. And
Batman's like, go to your
yeah, I like this Cavendish guy.
I like the shape of your cloak.
Wait a minute, I'm confused. Why hasn't Batman just kicked the shit out of the Joker? Like, the second he showed up, why didn't he just beat him to death?
Or near death.
Yeah.
Because
it was an invitation, Ethan. Because there's common courtesy here.
To be a good
you have
guest.
to show up and start punching. You have to at least have a back and forth. No, because they have all these... Some of the inmates are actual crazy people who aren't, like, villains.
Okay.
And they're also all these orderlies and nurses and doctors who are at the mercy of these villains.
So he's using the Joker to, like, help him get in?
Well, Joker is using Batman. Like, Joker is...
Well, why doesn't Batman kick the shit out of him then?
Because then all the other people will start killing hostages.
Yeah, the orderlies and...
Yeah,
so Joker was like, if Batman beats me up, like, just kill everybody.
Right, but Joker also knows that Batman's not going to beat him up. Joker starts playing around, like, very theatrically.
Look at his hair in that top panel right there.
Yeah. And his jaw keeps getting more violatory.
Yeah.
So his idea is, he's like, so now that you're here... Because the idea was, like, you show up and we'll release the hostages. And he's like, okay, and then like
Well,
he
I'm
doesn't. And then he's like, no, we're not going to do that.
Right, obviously.
Instead,
And then he punches him a lot.
yeah, no, he says instead, you are going to be hunted by everyone here. So you have an hour, run. And Batman's like, okay. So he runs.
Okay!
Why doesn't he beat him up?
Because
I don't
the other thing is that
understand.
Batman is in a really vulnerable state. Because he doesn't want to be here. He's really worried that he belongs here. And it's almost like he is asleep. Like, it's almost like a dream in his own way, where nothing is as it seems. And I liken it to the movie Insomniac, or Insomnia.
Yeah.
Where Al Pacino has been, like, without, like, 4 days sleep. And at that point, he's trying to do, like, really complex things, like solve a murder, and he can't keep it together. I feel like in this, like, Batman's state is very waking dream, kind of like exhaustion.
He's just like a visitor passing through. He feels like he can't really impact.
Yeah,
Like, he just has
I'm
to
not
get
sure if
through
he
he's
the
thinks
house.
he can,
Okay.
but he's also powerless to do anything about
Well, he's
it.
not touching anybody.
No, he's not.
Like, grabbing anybody and threatening them. He's not
No,
doing
I think-
anything. He's just like...
I think he's so afraid that if he does, he'll suddenly be committed.
Right, okay, I beat up the Mad Hatter, but Maxie Zeus, who has control over electricity, is going to kill all these people.
Right.
So it's like, if I upset this one thing, it'll knock the whole house of cards down.
So what's he gonna do?
Well, right
I guess
now,
run.
He's going to run.
He's not
right.
really running, so
But
he's
that's
walking.
not the Batman I know. The Batman I know will be like, run. Why?
Yeah.
Where?
Or he'd run and then, like, create traps and, like, figure it out. No. Instead he runs, and as he runs into different villains that he's put away, and they represent different elements of Batman's, like, psyche, and different elements of Batman's fears, and different elements of, like, of insanity in general.
So, he said that they were going to be hunting him.
Yeah.
And he runs into them and they don't do anything to him?
No,
It's
well,
really
like,
more
some of them
like,
do.
instead of them hunting him, it's more like he's walking through a haunted house.
Yes.
And different rooms have different, like, themes.
That's
and-
exactly
The
what it is.
Scarecrow room.
Yeah.
The Mad Hatter
Here's the
room.
Mad Hatter
But
room.
when they're going to be spooky.
But when they
you're
won't
gonna-
touch you,
But you're
they'll
going to get
freak
out
you
afterwards.
But when he runs into the Killer Croc room, there's an actual fight.
Okay.
Because Croc is like, okay, blah, and he
I'm
just
gonna eat you.
Yeah, and I'm gonna eat you though.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna eat you now.
Yeah, and Batman and he fight, and it's
Oh,
fucking
shit.
badass. Because Killer Croc in this looks like Reptile from that Mortal Kombat, like Christopher Nolan thing.
Jesus, yeah, he looks like a dinosaur.
But he's
Yeah.
big and
He's
scary,
huge,
and he's hard.
yeah.
And he throws Batman out the fucking window, and Batman winds up like landing on a gargoyle that's actually like an angel with this big fucking sword. I think it's
Oh,
Michael.
shit.
You
And-
said he lands on a gargoyle, and all I could imagine was
Is
that
it
scene
Goliath?
that scene from The Crow.
Oh, yeah.
Where, like, he throws him off a gargoyle and impales him, and blood's coming out of the
Well,
mouth.
interestingly enough, Batman takes Michael's like gargoyle sword and then comes back for Croc and then fucking stabs him with it.
Oh, shit.
And you're like, what the fuck am I looking at here?
Wow.
I don't think it's a sword. I think that's actually
It's
a
a
spear.
pike or a
It's
spear,
yeah. It's the spear that Michael uses to battle Lucifer. You know.
Okay.
Oh.
Wait, is that the Spear of Destiny?
No, that's the spear that pierces Christ when he like was on the cross.
Right.
So he defeats Killer Croc, and then he runs into
Wait,
Cat.
by defeat, you mean murder?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But like,
Well, Killer
Croc
Croc's
is
very
a-
big.
But he's an animal, so it's fine.
or like he's a reptile. Maybe he'll regenerate
He's
or
a healing
something.
factor. Or something.
Yeah, that's never addressed, and we never see him again. So I think he's fucking dead.
Yeah. But he's
Batman's
not
like,
like,
I don't
person,
know.
so-
I don't kill people, but he's not a person.
But he's
Yeah.
an animal.
But there's also a moment in this because like there's another
Still
thing where
eats
like
steak.
there's shit in here that like doesn't. You're not really sure if it happened or not. Like when Batman is exposed to Crane's fear toxin, as of course he will, which happens earlier. He is like freaking out.
Oh, so
And-
like all of this could be toxic.
That explains a lot. Okay.
Yes, and at one point he like takes a shard of I think it's glass and he pierces his hand. But in the original script, it was he pierces his hand to like remind himself that this is really happening,
Oh.
and to like wake himself out of the state.
Okay.
But it wasn't dramatic looking enough, so they have it go through his whole hand.
Yeah, you see it coming out the other side.
Yeah, and like that, it's a visceral, crazy image, but it also would destroy his hand.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do anything.
And it says they actually acknowledge it, like in the in this edition of the book, Morrison goes back in time and, like, explains. And he's like, yeah, I know that, like, he would have ruined his hand, but, like...
No, but he's such a brilliant surgeon, he knows exactly where to place the glass.
Yeah, so it goes through the nerves, yeah. So, we're not really quite sure what's real and what's... I mean, like, Maxie Zeus is, like... Maxie Zeus in the normal comics...
Wait, who is Maxie Zeus?
Maxie Zeus is a villain who thinks he is Zeus.
Okay.
So he usually dresses like a Grecian... You know, like, character with, like, with an olive branch around his head and, like...
And a toga.
And a toga, and he has, like, a lightning bolt that he, like, that is electrified. In this, he looks like fucking Electro.
Yeah.
And he has, like, power over electricity and shit. Cool, but...
Not what you're used to.
Not what I'm used to for Maxie Zeus, and we don't see that version of him anymore.
This is like a haunted house. Batman just, like, walks into this room with Maxie Zeus. Maxie Zeus talks at him and acts creepy.
And then he leaves.
Batman leaves.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, that's before the croc room. The croc room is the death room.
Right, exactly.
The croc room's
well,
where
they're also,
actually...
like... It's also, I think, an elaborate joke by the Joker.
Okay.
In that it's like, you have to go and see your greatest hits. Like, you're going to go through the gamut, and if you make it out the other side, you can go.
Okay.
Like,
no, if you make it out the other side... Guess what? We're still keeping you here because you're crazy.
No, but like the inmates are running it, and the inmates get to decide what to do,
So is it if you make it out without, like, going crazy yourself?
or whatever,
killing somebody else? Because he already failed that.
Yeah,
With Croc.
I know.
Yeah.
But also, Croc broke the rules by attacking him anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
So then we meet Cavendish, and Cavendish is that doctor guy.
Okay.
He is crazy too.
Oh.
And he's the guy who released the inmates in the first place. Because Cavendish found Arkham's old notes. And he read through them, and when he got to the part where Arkham, like, did this transcendental spell, he believes that he's the reincarnation of Arkham. And that he has to finish Arkham's work. And that the bat image that haunted his mother is Batman. That, like, Batman coming up on the scene today is... like, the manifestation of that horror that first started the Arkham horror.
Oh,
and so he's like, I have to stop the bat.
How did this guy get cleared to be a doctor?
Right? Well, he was a doctor before. It's just that
he had a psychotic break.
He had a break, and then when he read all those notes.
Yeah.
And then, he immediately released all the inmates. It was like, curing people all the time is my life's work. I've been doing this for decades. And then, I read this thing. I am reincarnated. Flip the switch.
Reading the book was like a descent into badness. Like, he was
Yes.
going more and more, like, as he read, he's like, oh, yeah.
He got too
it's all
into
making
it.
sense. Like, he was probably susceptible to going crazy before that. And
Yes.
it's like...
Well, I mean,
Triggered it.
because of Arkham. I honestly think the house
probably
had
it was-
part
Yeah,
of
oh
his
yeah, the
because
whole
this
thing.
house is fucking insane.
There are
Yes.
lines here where they say, like, the house is it has that effect on you.
Right.
So, yeah. Like, you work there long
But you
enough.
also, like, filled it with people like Scarecrow and Joker. So,
Right.
like, you kind of reap what you sow.
Look, it's a haunted Indian burial ground.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So, Cavendish, of course, reveals his nefarious plot when he's holding Adams hostage.
Adams is saying...
Oh, Ruth
the
Adams.
female,
Yeah.
Ruth Adams.
Oh.
And, Batman's like, fuck, like, what am I going to do? And I think, like, Adams winds up freeing herself.
It's called a batarang.
Yeah. She, like, hits him or something, and then, like, Batman kicks his ass. No, she stabs him.
Oh, shit.
Like, she gets freed, and then she kills him.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, Batman is, like, she frees herself, and then Batman and Cavendish fight, and then Cavendish is going to choke Batman out. And Batman is paralyzed by whatever. Madness, fear.
It's still the fear.
Oh no, I am crazy.
And then Ruth just stabs him to death.
Shit.
And she's like,
Oh, she fucking slits his throat.
yeah.
Yeah, that looks like a straight
She
razor.
grabs his head
Yeah,
like this.
she's like,
and
nope,
cuts his throat.
and he's like, blah, and she's like, oh my god, I killed somebody. Batman's like, it's cool. Anyway,
He got what he deserved, he says.
yeah,
Don't worry, it's fine.
don't worry, it's cool. He was
I
gonna
feel
kill me.
like Batman would never say that.
No,
So fucking
right? He'd be
weird.
like, you're coming with me. It's like, what are you, fucking hypocrite?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but he was totally gonna kill me. You saw him.
you saw right. So,
Wait,
He
so this
cut
whole
his own
thing,
throat. It's cool.
this whole thing was Cavendish's plot,
kind of.
and now he's dead.
Now he's dead. But the inmates are still running the asylum, and Joker is still kind of at large in the asylum. And the idea here is, Batman's like, give me Harvey's coin. And she's like, why? You're not gonna fucking undo all the work I've been doing. He's like,
Watch me.
watch me. So he takes the coin.
I don't know, am I? Like, punch!
Yeah, I got it. So he fucking goes, so like, he makes it out the other side, and Joker's like, great, time to die.
I fucking knew it!
Yeah.
Of course I'm not
gonna
gonna let him go.
Of course I'm not gonna let you go. And then Batman goes, maybe we should let Harvey decide. And Joker's like, oh, it's a great idea! So he gives Harvey the coin, and Harvey is like, yeah, and then he gets the coin, he's like, got it. Flips the coin, fucking says like, heads, he goes home. So he goes, it was heads, he can go. And Joker's like, cool, okay, I'm a man of my agreements. Go, enjoy. And of course Joker makes some half-hearted joke about how he's like, enjoy the asylum! You know, because out here is the asylum. In there is the real world.
Yeah.
But then you notice, at the end, that it was actually the marked side.
Oh, really?
That Harvey made the decision for himself.
Oh shit.
So Batman actually helped him
Okay. That's
Wait.
kind of cool.
by giving him back his identity a little bit. Like, that by giving him the coin, that either Adams's work was working on Harvey,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
and like giving him the coin was like the last piece of the puzzle. It's why it wasn't working.
Or
Batman's like, no, he's actually Two-Face.
No, he's Two-Face. And like, because I recognize that he's Two-Face and I give him his coin.
He gave me one.
He gave me a pass.
Exactly. It's a pass.
Here's your coin. All right, you get to leave.
Yeah.
I've been looking for this thing.
Yeah, thank you.
You know you can make
now
one.
we're even.
Exactly.
Batman.
Why doesn't he just make something that's two-sided? Flip it.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's easy. I
It's
assume,
his
like,
coin.
Yeah, like it's gotta be that coin.
Yeah.
Like, or it doesn't matter.
The coin that made him.
Yeah.
Now,
Is it the coin that makes the man?
so that's the.
Or the
so
man that makes the coin?
no.
What?
Oh, man doesn't make a coin. It doesn't make any sense.
No, men do
She
make
makes a
coins.
coin.
If you're on one, sure. Oh, men do make them. Yes, they smelt them and they make them. Yeah. So anyway, Batman Arkham Asylum, A Serious House and Serious Earth, is obviously nuts, but fascinating. It was a book that I had avoided for years because I'm very much more literal. Obviously, my favorite Batman story is Dark Knight Returns. You can't get more literal than that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I got to it later in life. As a kid in '89,
Oh my god.
this would have been horrifying.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have gotten it. I would have been like, nah, no more. And then I would have like made an assumption about it.
This
Funny
would have
thing
been reading it and then nightmares.
Yep.
If I was young.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd even.
Opposed to now.
Yeah. Holy shit. So
Might still give me nightmares.
Yeah.
we got this. So then we have the whole script.
Now see, that's really insane.
Yeah. It's cool.
This is the crazy part.
Yeah.
Right.
This is the madness of the book.
You get Morrison's script.
Okay.
And little like running commentary.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I read it, and it's really neat. Like, he gives really great insights, and I don't want to give it away, I don't want to ruin it, because, like, this is a great book, and you should pick it up. Link in the description box down below.
Oh.
But, like, yeah.
So it's not just like, and here's the script too.
No, it's
Like,
script,
it
and
gives you
Morrison, like, in 2012, or whenever they printed this, explaining a little bit more.
This is like
Elaborating
a
a little
special
bit.
Because I was going to say,
Yeah.
I already got the script. I read it in the comic.
Exactly.
This is a pretty short book.
It is very short.
Really?
I mean, like,
It looks like it's the equivalent of like maybe 3 comics.
yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, they posted all at once. I assume it was.
Oh, yeah, no, it was an original graphic novel, yeah.
But yeah, half
it
of
looked
it is
bigger.
the scripts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at least the latter half is relevant to what happened.
Right.
But yeah, the art is crazy cool. Like,
Yeah.
it is. I appreciate it today. I would not have then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've been like, I can't. What the fuck?
Yeah, what am I even looking at?
Why is
And in
it-
fact,
why is everything's drawn so indistinctly?
the fact is, as a kid, I did. Like, because you can't avoid it. If you
Right.
read comics as a child, like,
There's
you know
everywhere.
this book exists. I've seen
Yeah.
it before. I have a whole bunch of, like, big Batman books. Like, all the Batmans. And, like, Batman Arkham Asylum, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. That's some art house bullshit.
And moving on. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. And click the annotation here to see every episode of Backers ever done. And we'll see you guys next time. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
So long. Still waiting for my Riddler trophy statue. I have one that I ordered.
I remember.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
I would like to see it as well.
You're going to hang it on the ceiling in a little cage.
Yeah. I want one because, like, and thank Christ they made one, because you guys have played those games. You know what a pain in the ass it
my
is to
God.
get all those Riddler trophies.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of it, you deserve a physical thing
yes.
that, like, proves you did it. Because it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
More work than I've ever put into a job I've had.
Yeah. It's a lot of work just finding them, and
then you gotta
figuring
get
out
them.
how to get them.
Yeah.
Some of them are maddening.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, some of them are
Especially
absolutely
the ones you have to
frustrating.
like fly a certain way.
Oh my god, yeah, you gotta go under a bridge, and
Yeah.
fuck you, that's nuts. Eat me, Enigma. So, you know who was a great character that they didn't use in this? Was him. The Riddler's not in here. Interestingly enough, that's weird.
That's because he's not crazy. He's just an asshole.